Welcome back, Remodelites, to another episode of Remodel Rundown. I am Dave with Remodel Media, and it has been a while. I've been working on some projects, but I'm back now, and I wanted to just touch base with you on what I've been working on and also cover some industry highlights. Some really interesting products are coming out, and I wanted to make you aware about them. So let's get into it. So if you're new here, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. My job, my mission in life is to eliminate regret. And I do that by bringing you the latest tips, tricks, and products for your home remodel. So make sure you ring that bell for notifications so you never miss an episode. So the first product coming out, actually it's already out, and I was super excited when I saw this. It is something that is absolutely going to change the kitchen install game, and it's from Hansgrohe, the kitchen faucet. They call it the S-Box. And what this is a device that they sell with their kitchen faucet specifically, and it goes on most of their kitchen faucets, I believe. And let me show you how this works. So in this installation, of course, let's go for fast playback speed. So in this installation, they're unboxing it. There's your kitchen sinks, kitchen sink strainer. Let's skip ahead here. There we go. So not every sink has an overflow. In fact, I would say most do not. So you can skip that step, obviously. There we go. So it's time to make the water connections, right? And it starts out like any other faucet installation. You've got your weight, but instead of a weight, it's a pulley. And that pulley goes into this little box. So your hoses will always stay exactly where you mean them to be. As you pull the faucet hose up and down, or as you pull the faucet head in and out, the hose will go up and down. But now you have lots of variability of when it comes to storage underneath that sink. I don't know if you caught that, but look at this. In this particular installation, they were actually able to install drawers underneath a kitchen sink, which is pretty huge. Now, of course, I noticed that kitchen sink is missing a garbage disposal, and here in the States, a lot of us have garbage disposals, but that's all right. So when I saw this for the first time a couple months ago, I about lost my mind. Forever and a day, that's always been the chief complaint with any kitchen faucet is the hose gets tangled. And when it gets tangled, it doesn't always retract properly, and the faucet head starts to dangle, things like that. That is something that I happen to think is a very, very handy thing. So You like that? So the next, you probably already saw this on my episode that I aired about a month ago when I went to KBiz. This is the Brizo hot and cold faucet, drinking faucet. So Insta Hot or filtration faucet, respectively. Quick disclaimer: when they say cold, you see that little C. That doesn't mean it actually chills the water. It means it's made for like a regular water filter, as in a non-heated water. This with the H right here, these are made for hot water, so like an Insta Hot tank, little tank heater that goes underneath your faucet. And I do believe that these are made for, yes, these are made for specifically the InSinkErator hot tanks. Tank and filter sold separately, not by Brizo, must be paired with the InSinkErator hot tank. So for warranty purposes, I recommend sticking with that. You might be able to jury rig it up to a regular little water tank, but I wouldn't try it. And then the next big headline actually comes from Thor. Now, you'll remember that I also did an interview with Thor on some of their stuff at KBiz, the Kitchen and Bath Industry Show. And they do have some updates. The biggest update for me was when I realized the small oven, specifically in their 48-inch range where it has two ovens, that small oven is a roasting oven, not a baking oven. So, keep that in mind when you're making your purchases. Most 48-inch ranges are actual baking ovens. It's usually a full service, full functioning oven. So in this case, for Thor, it is not. But for half the price, I get why somebody would still go for it. The next headline, now this is also something that excited me greatly when it came out. This came out towards I think the middle of last month, and it was from a company called MTech. Now, I like MTech for door hardware. The reason I like them is that for me, they're local in Southern California. They have almost everything in stock, but what that means is all the components are in stock and then they assemble it to order. So I can't remember the last time an MTech order took more than a week. And for a lot of vendors, even throughout this pandemic, that's saying something. That's a big deal. So when they came out with this, now just for clarity's sake here, this is their builder line, or they call it Yale Expressions. But something like this from the regular MTech collection is going to be $100, $125. But here, it's literally half the price. So I no longer have to order substandard product to save a customer money. I can now order certain, now you'll notice they have way fewer, round or square rosettes. That's it. Traditional, contemporary. That's it. There's not a lot of variables, or their main line is huge. The main MTech line has so many different options and so many different finishes. Here you've got maybe a handful. So keep that in mind, but if you're looking for something fairly simple but contemporary, you now have a way to do that without going with actually cheap product. Next headline I wanted to hit on is Let's see here. I'm trying to look and see if I can see the live chat. It's been, oh, there it is. There's the button. All right, no comments or reactions. All right. Want to make sure I'm not missing any of your questions. If you have a question, go ahead and drop it in the comments below, and we'll address it throughout the live stream. So the last and final industry update that I wanted to make you guys aware of is this one from Fisher & Paykel. Now, Fisher & Paykel is a company out of New Zealand. They have both what we would consider like traditional or even some contemporary designs, but they are having a $300 instant rebate on eligible quad door refrigerators. In other words, anything with 4 doors is $300 instant rebate. Now, I'm a fan of instant rebates because they don't actually require any extra effort on behalf of the customer. It comes right off the invoice, and all of the work is done by the dealer. So anything that makes my customers' lives easier, I'm definitely a fan. So keep that in mind next time you're shopping for a high-end refrigerator, that these are specifically their freestanding refrigerators, not their built-in. These are, by freestanding, I do mean, ranging from like 69 to 72 inches tall. And this one, I believe, is like a 32 or a 33. And then this one's a 36. So, and you can see this is a 20 cubic foot. This is a 17 cubic foot, respectively here. So, that is about it for industry updates for today, October 11th, 2020. I wanted to dive into some comments that I've been getting from some of the viewers, specifically comments that I have not yet responded to. And unfortunately, there are a lot of comments I have not actually gotten back to, so I owe you guys an apology as well. So let's dive here into the wonderful world of the comments section. Here we go. Well, here's one from Veda Ann. I remember Veda Ann. I helped her out in another video. So Veda Ann says she likes the whisk mic. Well, it's still here. I got it. Thanks, Veda Ann. Try typing with one hand here. Veda Ann. It's my custom KBiz microphone. All right, let's see if we can find a great info on Fisher Paykel. Now here's a good question here. I'm not sure why I did not reply to you, Pooja. I apologize. But we got great info on the Fisher & Paykel. I much prefer the older name, that to the older name. Do you have suggestions for a drawer dishwasher that can fit in a 24-inch drawer? And what is your opinion on Vesta dishwasher? Seems similar, but fits in a drawer. Well, Fisher and Paykel has. Here we go. Fisher and Paykel does have dishwasher drawers. They pioneered that technology. So when it comes to having a dishwasher drawer that is 24 inches wide, you can get singles and doubles from Fisher and Paykel. I think I looked into. I do remember that comment. I apologize for not responding to you, Pooja. I remember looking into the Vesta dishwasher, but it was not one that I was familiar with. And I don't like knocking things I'm not familiar with. So that's just me. I know there's a lot of plumbers and tradespeople out there that if they're not familiar with it, they talk bad about it. That happened to me recently with my project. I gave him the shower pan and a tile-in flange, separate, of course, not together. And the plumber tried telling me, "Oh, it's going to leak." And here's the thing: this is my mother-in-law's house, and so she, of course, freaked out because the plumber's saying it's going to leak, and that's not okay. It's not okay to do that. If you're not familiar with it, say you're not familiar with it. That's fine. But don't scare people into doing something you're familiar with by telling them something bad is going to happen. That's not cool. It's just not. And I know so many contractors I know so many good contractors that will say, "Hey, I don't know." But I know so many that won't, and they'll go the other route and say, "Well, I'm not going to warranty the work." And it's just like, really? Really? So Veda Ann, I hope that explains about why I'm being non-committal on my answer about Vesta dishwashers. Is I don't know. They could be just fine. Gibbert. So there's a comment here that's interesting. Weight limit. So let's see if I'm going to learn something today. So there's an interesting comment here from Caleb. And Caleb, thank you for pointing this out here. So in my video about wall-mounted toilets, I mentioned a concern if you're doing something like a bariatric installation, because I did not know. And he's telling me that the weight limit here is 800 pounds. So yeah, look at that. Rated to 800 pounds, 400 kilograms. So for anybody considering wall-mounted Geberit carriers, you're good to go no matter what you do, as long as it's installed properly. Absolutely. Good to know. Now, living today, I love reading the comments from this user right here, because this person actually, they write a full page dissertation every time. It's like they write a whole essay. So this one was on my episode about outdoor living. And I talked about grilling, and I talked about gas versus cooking with wood or charcoal. So, okay, good point. Many HOA communities If you're considering what grill to buy, many HOA communities actually have rules against wood or charcoal. You need to use gas because it produces less smoke. Now that Living Today is no longer in an HOA, that's not really an issue. Miracle Grow Bounty grows herbs great. Sister uses it for salads. I tried a small garden outside, no success. Indoor soil with grow lights is disappointing. Hydroponic indoor tower. Plants still alive, but not the rapid growth and harvest equaling the bounty. So Miracle Grow Bounty. I'm assuming that's a device. Let's look it up. Oh, okay. I see. This is it's like a little hydroponic thing. Got it. That's cool. I'll put a link in the description below if you're looking for it. Thank you, Living Today. I appreciate that. Also tired of this lockdown since February. I'm at the point of wanting to... my ex-husband has many... suffered a month and now is fine. Comorbidities, maybe? No need to go to the hospital, as they know. All right. Let's see. Who else has some questions for me? Leave them in the comments here. Jump in the chat. Here we go. So Jay Carver says, this was interesting. I'm very interested in the wall-mounted faucets because I think in my area with hard water, it will be easier to keep clean. So Jay Carver, yes, actually, many of my customers who get wall-mounted faucets tell me that the countertops are easier to just wipe down. You don't have to wipe around the fixture. You just get the wall-mounted faucet and wipe straight across. You don't have no roadblocks. So many of my customers actually do appreciate that very, very much. So thank you for bringing that up. It's a good point. Albert, hey Albert. Okay, so apparently 2 months ago, Albert sent me an email and I did not see it until last night. So, Albert, I hope you got those links I sent you last night. If it's okay, I'll go ahead and share it with folks here. Where is my... So Al sent me these photos of his sink and he's trying to replace it. Now, this particular sink, the measurements and the cutout and the size and everything match directly to the Blanco Diamond 1 3/4 sink, which is available in 2 different configurations. And several different colors. It is available with the full divide here, or many folks do like the smart divide. Or, I'm sorry, smart divide is a Kohler word. They just call it a low divide. But basically, that part right there, the divide, is only about halfway, which means pot handles and things like that do not stick up. Very handy. Where were we here? Yes. So, Albert, I hope that email helped you. Let me know if you have any other questions. So Debbie says, ran across your video choosing a sink, great information. So here I am. Love the look of nickel sinks. Oh, you know what, Debbie, I actually answered that question in a video format, but I forgot to reply to make sure you knew I had answered. So I will go ahead and do that here in a little bit. I always like these little comments like interesting, good info. I appreciate it. Very impressive technology. It's cool to see how it's manufactured and centered and designed. Okay, so Max is talking about decked on countertops not being impact resistant. I have to disagree on that only because my own personal experience with them shows that they are very impact resistant. But they're also very, very dense and very, very thick. So, you know, day-to-day impacts, not a problem. Yeah, if you hit it with a hammer, you're probably going to make a chip. But then again, if you hit a quartz countertop with a hammer, you're going to get a chip. You hit a granite with a hammer, you're going to chip it. Marble, limestone, any countertop, you're going to chip it if you hit it with a hammer. So let's click the link here. A 1 pound of weight dropped from 21 inches. Yeah, that'll happen. Now I wonder, that from 21 inches, that almost simulates a... Yeah, you drop anything on the edge of the countertop like that, you're going to chip it. That's any countertop. Show me a side-by-side. You want to start saying bad stuff about Decton, that's fine. But make it a scientific test. Use a control group. It's like do granite, or granite would be a great control group because it's objectively a slightly denser material depending on the source. Why not do that? And then let's see. Oh, this is a great question. This is a great question right here. So we've got Pliff Plaff Ploof. Oh, you know what? I answered his question. At least I hope I did, but I forgot to tell him that I did. So I will link that up later. Drain slope. I bought a stainless steel sink and I have to force water down the drain. So you're looking in stainless steel or fire clay or composite. Mickey, I used composite in my kitchen because I wanted something durable that wasn't going to scratch, but I also wanted something that I knew would drain properly. The catch-22 with fire clay is when you look at fire clay, it absolutely is a beautiful material. It's porcelain. It's solid, heavy duty, never going to scratch. You'd have to do something really bad to chip this particular material. But when you look at fire clay, it is baked at a much higher temperature than cast iron, which means it can warp. It is made by it's largely man-made, not machine-made. So there is plus or minus a 2% variance and the possibility that a fire clay will not drain properly. You may have to chase water down the sink. That does happen with fire clay sinks. So keep that in mind. Speaking of fire clay sinks, I actually did forget one product update that I wanted to bring to your guys' attention here. Check this out. Fairmont Designs has a utility sink that fits into their 24-inch base cabinets. So Fairmont Designs is a company. Their warehouses in Southern California, and they have various vanities. That's their thing. That's their shtick, is they make vanities. Well, they now have a utility sink that is going to fit their 24-inch vanities. So if you wanted to put something in your laundry room, you could. And for $750 for a fire clay sink, that's not bad. All right. And then let's see. But back to the task, and I didn't really answer the question. I kind of skimmed over it, but so stainless steel will absolutely have should have a decent drain slope depending on the origins. So if you get a cheap knockoff stainless steel sink from China, chances are very good it's just going to be a cheap knockoff stainless steel sink from China. And if you want something that is engineered, higher quality, look into the company making it. So companies like LK, which I mentioned in a previous video, the LK Crosstown series. I'll put links in the comments below, in the description below, so you can check it out. But the LK Crosstown series is a great one to look at if you're looking for stainless steel. But yeah, in my case, I did composite. In about 10 minutes, I'll take you on a brief tour of my kitchen sink if you're interested. What type of sink material is best to get with very hard water? I'd like it to look nice, but do not want to push much effort into it every day. Thanks. So, Allison, I think I may have touched on this earlier, but fire clay, absolutely. It's white, so hard water, calcium spots won't show up. They'll still be there. They just be harder to see. Or a composite stone, like a white composite stone. Something like a white sill granite from Blanco would be a great option with hard water. Because in both cases, if you needed to scrub that sink or wanted to scrub that sink, you could without damage, and you'd be just fine. So that would be my recommendation. Stainless steel or anything metal or anything dark colored is probably going to show the water spots. So if that's your number one concern there, Allison, I hope that answers your question. Acrylic, let's see. How to avoid picking a sink for your kitchen. Acrylic, any information? There's not that many acrylic kitchen sinks. And I know when you're talking about tubs, acrylic is considered a high-end material, given the alternatives. But in the world of kitchen sinks, acrylic would not be... Think about it like this. A sink and a tub, while they both hold water, they both have very different uses. So my suggestion is to think about those uses. So a An acrylic bathtub, well, shoot, the only thing going in the bathtub is your butt, right? So, I mean, I've been told I have a bony butt, but in reality, my butt is not sharp. Pots and pans and knives and things like that are sharp. So you would scratch up an acrylic kitchen sink much more easily than you would an acrylic bathtub. That's just my 2 cents on the subject. So acrylic, I would never do an acrylic kitchen sink. I would absolutely do a composite stone, which is a ground up, crushed up granite mixed with a resin. I'll show you what I did in mine. The plumbing's all hooked up, so we can. And I was just doing dishes in it last night, and it's beautiful, and I love it. I love it so much. Thank you, Blanco, for the sink. It was not a gift, and they are not a sponsor. I just bought their stuff because I like it. Let's see. I may have missed it, but what are your thoughts on enameled steel tubs? Replacing an old cast iron, want something that feels as solid. Was looking at some American Standard ones from HD and Lowe's. From Promotions 101. So here are my thoughts on pressed steel tubs, enameled steel tubs. So American Standard has a material called Americast. And Americast it's a decent enough material for a $200, $300 tub. Do I think acrylic is better? Yes. But here's the reality is it feels plasticky, right? People will touch it and go, oh, that doesn't feel cool like porcelain. It's the same thing with composite tubs. Or I'm sorry, composite sinks. People will touch it and say it feels plasticky. That's not their preferred texture. So they go with a porcelain enamel sink. Same thing with the tubs. So I understand if you're looking, if for you texture is important, and everybody's got a thing. So for you, if texture is important, then absolutely, absolutely go with what you want. Go with what makes you happy. Understand though, here now that's the plus side. Here's the minus, right? Because everything has pros and cons. Your enameled steel tubs are far more likely to crack and chip even than cast iron is, because it's so thin and the steel is, by comparison to cast iron, flexible. So it is a lighter weight material. It just is. It feels good, but it's a lighter weight material. So go into that with eyes wide open. I hope that helps you. Let's see. Oh, here is a great question from Starlet. Starlet Smith says on my video, how to pick the best toilet, should I go with the Icera Muse washlet or the Toto Aquia 4 washlet? What do you think is the best for reliability and features? Now, Starlet, you're asking Muse or iWash, the iWash. So I'm assuming, Starlet, you're referring to the Icera Muse iWash, the one I did the video on maybe like 6 months ago or 8 months ago, something like that. It was longer than that because it was pre-pandemic, so it was a year ago. Wow. I'm coming up on 2 years doing this. That's and I'm still having fun. So there you go. So Starlet, I would start by saying which Aquia 4 washlet because they have several. So the Toto Aquia 4 is a toilet. And the Toto Aquia 4 is available as a combo, and you save a little bit of money by doing it that way, by buying it with a bidet wash seat, or what Toto refers to as a washlet. It is an add-on piece that goes on top of the toilet. The Icera Muse iWash is sort of a unibody type construction. There's no seat back on the toilet. It's just one device. And I would say that perhaps one of the things you need to look at is which washlet you're looking to pair with that Aquia 4. Because some washlets do not have an instant water heater. They just have a tank water heater in the seat. Here, let me show you. So if we go over here to totousa.com. All right, we go to products, we go to washlets. Okay, so the basic units that they have, like the C200 or the C100, these, let's see if we can find a good image of it from the side. Yes, you look at this, at how wedge shaped it is. Right here. You'll have to look at it sideways here, but you see how wedge shaped that is, how tall that is right there? That is not an inline heater. That is a tank heater that holds a certain amount of water, and then when you're out of hot water, you're out of hot water. But when you look at, let's see. But when you look at other models like the 350 and the 500 that they have, the 350 and the 500, or 300, 350, here's a good image. Whoops. Here's some good images of it from the side. See how slim that is? The 500, the 550. And each one has a different, there you go. That one has a tank, you can tell because of how tall it is. The C200, there it is from the side. You can see. So yeah, versus, see, here we go, side by side. Tank, no tank. Has an instant water heater. So that is the first thing that I would look at there, Starlet. I would look at which washlet you're looking to do, because the Muse iWash has an inline water heater. There's only one thing that the Muse does that the Toto's not going to do that the Muse is not going to do that the Toto does right now. They're working on it. They haven't launched it yet, but they are working on the fact that the Icera does not open automatically when you walk up to it. The Totos, even the basic ones, do. So keep that in mind as well. Also, if we're talking about the power of the flush, I happen to prefer the Icera flush style to the Toto Aquia. The Aquia is a dual flush versus the Icera, which is a single flush. It's still a water-saving flush, but it's a single flush. So I just don't like dual flush toilets. That is a personal, it is entirely personal. Like I said, everybody's got a thing. I don't want to stick my fingers in a hole to flush a toilet. I don't want to do it. I don't like it. That's me. So let's see. We're coming up on the 10-minute mark, so let's give you guys a quick tour of what we've got going on here in the kitchen. So come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. All right. Here we go. Got my custom K-Biz microphone. Here you go. You see it? All right. Cool. So I got you on this little tripod mount here. So over here, you can see I was doing some dishes last night. So over here, we have a sill granite metallic gray Blanco super single Pressus sink. This is paired with a sorry, I had a blank there. I forget the name. It's the it is a Delta. It is a Delta. I have to look at the box. I forget the name. It's a Delta-esque, E-S-Q-U-E, Delta-esque kitchen faucet in matte black, and a Mountain Plumbing Products matte black air gap. This is a drain that is hooked up to the dishwasher, and if there's ever a clog in the drain line, the water will come out right here and into the sink. So I want to point out something right here. If you'll look down in the bottom of the sink, you'll notice the disposal flange. That's this piece right here. And stopper. Now most garbage disposals, oh, by the way, this I did take my own advice and I used the Franke 1 1/4 horsepower disposer. So, like most garbage disposals, it does come with a polished steel disposal flange and stopper. But you'll notice I have a matte black kitchen faucet. So when you have a decorative, when you have a decorative faucet and you want to replace that flange, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can replace the whole disposal flange. Usually you do that during installation. We chose not to do that. But you can replace the whole disposal flange with, say, something that's a matte black. Or you can match it to the sink, which is what I did. So it's a pretty simple operation, actually. This inserts into this. You remove that sound baffle because it comes with its own baffle here. And then you push it down. I'm going to set you guys down right here because I want to use 2 hands on this because see, here's the part that so many plumbers and contractors over the years have complained about or told me, oh, it quote unquote, it doesn't work. It's because they're not using enough elbow grease to push it down into place. It absolutely does work, and it works perfectly. Look at that. Now your drain matches. Oops, sorry, dropped the mic. Your drain matches your sink. See? And there's your stopper. Bada bing. Bada boom. There you go. And now you have a basket strainer that'll catch food. And that's another thing right there, is you have a basket strainer that's going to catch food as you're washing dishes. Not that you have to worry too much because you've got that super powerful garbage disposal down there, but I just wanted to let you guys know. So if your plumber or your contractor ever says, "Oh, it doesn't fit," don't buy it. Unless they can tell you exactly why it doesn't fit. But specifically that with specifically a 3-bolt mount. Oh, this is another important thing about disposers. Let me show you something. You see that disposer? 1, 2, and then there's a bolt on the back. That 3-bolt mount disposer style is super common. InSinkErator is the number one thing that people are familiar with, and they kind of set the standard, and they did a very good job with that. But other brands have that 3-bolt mount disposal flange too. So those particular types of disposal flanges are designed to work with an InSinkErator style flange. Doesn't have to be InSinkErator brand, but as you can see, it worked perfectly with the Franke. So if your plumber says, "Oh, it doesn't work, it's not going in," it's just not using enough elbow grease. Well, there you go. There you have it. That's our time for the day. Thank you very much, folks, for coming in. And as always, leave your comments and questions down below. I love answering them. And I'll see you in the next one.